With Jeff Hardy recently returning to AEW, Fightful noted this about his in-ring status. Jeff Hardy wasn't expected to have an in-ring match before the compound match, at least as of his return. There were some outside of AEW who had learned he was returning a couple of days prior. Giving a health update on Thunder Rosa, who is yet to return from injury, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful noted that Thunder Rosa is still not cleared, and there is concern that she may require surgery to repair her back. Despite Endeavor acquiring WWE and set to merge it with the UFC, Ric Flair said this about Vince McMahon's status as chairman of this new company. "I just can't see Vince taking orders. This will be a strange one for me if someone tried to tell Vince what the hell to do. He's my hero. I judge people by how they treat me, and he has treated me like I've never had anyone treat me with more respect in this business. He's a great guy. I don't care what he does. He's my hero." During his interview with Captain's Corner, Chavo Guerrero said this about Rey Mysterio's constant tributes to the late Eddie Guerrero. "I gotta tell you this, I just don't understand why Rey Mysterio still has to. Look, we all love Eddie Guerrero. We're not going out with his gimmick and our gimmick. It was Los Guerreros gimmick and came out with the Los Guerreros, we lie, we cheat, we steal, and everybody's like, oh yeah, keeping Eddie's memory alive. I say, no dude, I'm tired of people. And this is not a bitter thing. This is the truth. We worked hard for that last name. This whole family worked really hard to get that name to where it was, and we're tired of people prostituting it in a sense and using it for their benefit. So Rey Mysterio, I'm sorry that no one knows who Rey Mysterio Sr. is. Rey Mysterio Jr., no one knows who he is, and I'm sorry that you have to latch on to the Guerrero family, and we're just kind of tired of it, so thank you for keeping Eddie's name alive. Thank you for keeping the Guerrero name alive, but we don't need you. We're good, you know what I'm saying? I don't think Rey could hold a candle to me right now, to be honest," Chavo responded when the host mentioned the idea of him versus Rey at WrestleMania 40. Speaking to Steve Fall about his time coaching in WWE, Bill DeMott addressed his firing from the company, which was due to the many allegations of abuse. "When I took over FCW, which then turned into NXT, I already knew it had a shelf life before social media and all these things. The funny thing about the allegations was when they came out the first time, there was a full investigation. The company comes out and says, we found none of this to hold any water, but social media was so on fire that they didn't want the heat, and I don't blame them. NXT was just starting to tour the States before it became really big, so we were on our first tour of the States outside of Florida. I made a promise to Triple H. I know what the business is. I've been through it. I've been through the goods and bads, the ups and downs, and I would never do anything to embarrass him or this company. So when everything came out, you have two options. Fight and add fuel to the fire, because now you're going to be spending all your time doing that, which means you can't do your job, which means nobody's focused on what they're doing, or you go, you know what? I appreciate the time. I'm going to step away and let everybody keep moving on." Contrasting the heel personas of MJF and Dominik Mysterio, Disco Inferno stated on Keeping It 100, "I think nobody would disagree that MJF is a better performer. However, you could argue who has more heat right now. It's Dominik. I am positive that MJF would love to be getting the type of heat that Dom's getting right now. I mean, if you're a heel, you want Dominik Mysterio heat." With it previously said that Naomi was deemed to be too expensive for New Japan and Stardom, Ringside News added that Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of WWE together, but Naomi almost came back. We are told that things changed when Sasha then held out for more terms. This caused Naomi to hold out with Sasha. As CM Punk made amends with many he had prior issues with backstage at Raw last night, Dave Meltzer said this about the internal reaction to him on Wrestling Observer Radio. The feeling in WWE was that he was there because he wanted back. Obviously, there were talks of him going back, whatever it was, late last year, but he couldn't go because he was still under contract. And my impression is this was with Paul Levesque in charge and not Vince. And my impression was they didn't have any interest in him at that time. It was added that apparently Punk flew from Florida to Chicago on a flight with a lot of the talent. After suffering a knee injury during a short return match at WrestleMania this year, Shane McMahon could be seen working out in a video on Instagram. With Chavo Guerrero previously calling out Rey Mysterio and WWE for continuing to use Eddie Guerrero's name, a fan would ask, so Chavo, real talk, is your family getting paid for how much now WWE is using Eddie and now the LWO? Just saying because the man is in heaven, yet his name and ideas are all being used heavy now. Chavo simply replied, nope. On Keeping It 100, Conan said this about Bray Wyatt being out of action as he was asked, have you heard a lot of good things about Bray Wyatt? He responded, no, but I do. Somebody told me this in WWE, one of the wrestlers, that there's something wrong with him physically. So I don't know if he's injured or what, but yeah. Touching on CM Punk's recent appearance backstage at Raw, Lance Storm said this for the Wrestling Observer's Figure 4 Daily. If Tony Khan didn't okay it, then I think, in my opinion at least, the message being sent is a warning to Tony that people don't think I'll ever go back to WWE. Watch me. So you better be careful. And it's a power play to let Tony know he's going to have to get Punk back to show. He's going to have to accommodate CM Punk. Because if he fires CM Punk, I think the message is clear now that he is very willing now to walk in WWE and talk to Hunter. If he didn't get it cleared with Tony, I think it's that ballsy move. But Punk has never been lacking in those. But I think it's a very dirty play when you know seems to be trying to get the image and the rep of unity in the AEW locker room. We were going to bring this guy back. We were going to bury the hatchet, make amends, get him back on the show. And then he does this. I would not be surprised if I was Tony unless it was cleared. If it's cleared, then that's a decision Tony and Punk can make. But if it's not, then it's a dirty pool and power play. Staying on the topic of CM Punk's WWE visit, this was said about his talk with Triple H, with PW Insider noting that we are told by someone who saw the interaction that the two shook hands, and Punk asked if it was okay that he visit and if Levesque had time. Could they speak for 2 minutes? Levesque allegedly said he had to make sure with the big guy it was okay, obviously a reference to Vince McMahon. It was perhaps a 1 to 2 minute interaction, if even that. As Triple H unveiled a new World Heavyweight title on Raw this week, this was said by Give Me Sport about the likely winner of the belt. With the new title, I've heard Seth Rollins is a very strong candidate to be the first guy. No doubt about it, Seth is your leading candidate. According to PW Insider, WWE employees received an email from WWE CEO Nick Khan which reads, "We are all fortunate to be 3 years, 1 month, and 14 days removed from the moment where stay-at-home orders were put in place, business shuttered, some permanently, and sports seasons canceled. Of course at WWE, and thanks to all of you, we continue to move forward, never missing a week of production in the safest way possible. As I have had the good fortune of meeting with so many of you over the last few months, it has become apparent to me that our business thrives on creativity and an unparalleled work ethic. All of us physically together is a part of that. As such, we will be going back to what has always been the case prior to COVID, which is a return to 5 days a week in office. Nothing replaces our ability to interact with one another as we collectively continue to build and represent our company. We will all connect better and be better. Monday, May 1st, 2023 will be the start of our full-time return to office. For those based in Stamford, our first group has moved to our new headquarters and the rest of us will be there shortly. We thank you for your patience with this process. If you have not yet seen it, it is a spectacular workspace that we believe you will all be quite proud of. Thank you for all, Nick." Apparently, this has employees worried for their jobs, as PW Insider added. For some employees, there's also the fear that post-merger, they may be out of a job, and as if that wasn't stressful enough, now they will be back in the office full-time, compounding that stress. There weren't a lot of happy employees opening their emails. On the Zaslow show, Jeff Jarrett said this about pro wrestlers complaining about the booking they receive on social media. Here's what I've learned through the years. It's an old philosophical quote. Each and every day, the older I get, the more I understand that I absolutely know nothing. It's the different platforms. I have 5 kids, all different ranges. My younger ones don't know a life without social media. It's the evolution. Years ago, talent that didn't have social media and liked to complain, where did they complain? They complained at the nightclubs, at the gym, in the dressing room. It's all the same. Now, the double-edged sword is these guys complain, they don't understand, they're creating a narrative of who their character is. Guys in the years gone by that complained, when they stepped through the curtain, that's what the public consumes this as. Now, when you peel the onion back and this guy's complaining, or that kind of defines their character, you are literally giving the audience the opportunity to vote yes or no on, am I going to spend my money and my time and get emotionally engaged in this character? That's the reality. Some folks, as we speak, they learn their lesson the hard way, unfortunately. Explaining how the issues between CM Punk and Colt Cabana started, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, okay, so the show on Monday when we were talking about the irony of the Punk thing, and the thing that started all of this, which was when Punk and Cabana had their falling out when Cabana going to the show. Anyways, I've been told that the story is essentially correct, but it wasn't. Cabana didn't go to a WWE show. He actually went out for pizza with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Pac a couple of years ago, and that's what caused the start of everything basically, because Punk felt that they shouldn't have contact with anyone in WWE because of the lawsuit. Cabana went for pizza with guys he's known on the independent scene for years and years and was good friends with. Talking about her return to WWE at the Royal Rumble this year, Nia Jax told Busted Open Radio, I did catch the bug again when I got in the ring. I was like, this feeling, this adrenaline that pumps through you, you know? I was breathing super hard before I went out, and you know, Kasama, WWE producer, was backstage helping me breathe through it, and I had a bunch of the guys come by and give me a hug, and so when my music hit, that feeling of, oh what the hell was I thinking? Let's go. I did catch the bug after being in the Rumble, which I was like, maybe coming back would be a cool thing. I mean, if the people do remember me and the only thing I'd want to do is to come back and help anybody out I could, I would love to add to the division. It would be something that I would love to do. Giving a quick update on Hangman Page, Dave Meltzer pointed out on Wrestling Observer Radio, people ask me about Hangman Page to see if he's legit injured. He's selling the injury to make a big comeback. It was previously reported that a meeting would take place between CM Punk, who is rumored to be returning to AEW soon, and Chris Jericho, as it apparently happened. Wade Keller of PW Torch said, I heard the meeting took place with Jericho and FTR. I think it was supposed to be on Friday, I think. That might have been why I was in Tampa, and I just heard from one source that it went well. We'd reported that Jericho and Punk were set to meet and speak with one another, and we've learned that happened over the last week. Those familiar with the situation said that the meeting was relatively uneventful, all things considered, and especially when taken into consideration the issues the two have had. Sources familiar with the situation also claimed that it seemed as if the two could end up working together without issue, but also pointed towards Punk's recent history as well as Jericho's long-term history of welcoming confrontation. With Triple H unveiling a new World Heavyweight title on Raw this week, Steve Carrier reported this about potential plans for the belt. According to a circulating report, Seth Rollins is currently the leading contender to claim the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. However, Ringside News has been informed that this does not guarantee his victory, as Vince McMahon has been known to alter plans at the last moment. Without context, Alberto Del Rio posted a photo of himself as the World Heavyweight Champion when he was a part of WWE, as he is possibly hinting at a return to the company. Touching on the initial plans for the recently unveiled new world title in WWE, the Wrestling Observer newsletter said, by November, the idea was for Night 1 of WrestleMania with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre at the time tabbed for the match, or a three-way involving Cody Rhodes if Dwayne Johnson had faced Roman Reigns at Mania. For whatever reason, that changed. But judging from the name change of the show, the decision to go back to 2 titles looks to have been very recent. It would be added that the decision to add the second title was the reason last week the show's name was changed from King and Queen of the Ring to Night of Champions. The idea of bringing back the second title dates back literally to when the titles were unified at the April 3rd, 2022 WrestleMania show in Dallas when Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar. We had been told before the match that the company felt it needed 2 titles, but also based on the Mania stipulation, it had to wait a certain length of time before creating the second one. Speaking about that previously mentioned championship, Jim Cornette mentioned this about WWE's decision to have another world title, saying on his Drive-Thru podcast, "How does this make sense? The best guy won't wrestle often, so we're gonna make another guy another champion. I can believe an interim champion. I could buy that. That's done in sports, even though Tony Khan does it too much. But no, this is just for no reason, and the reason that they gave does not hold up to any logic or common sense in terms of the fan enjoyment. It doesn't make any sense." For a status update on Miro, who has been absent from AEW programming, the Wrestling Observer noted, regarding some frequently asked questions of late, there is nothing new on Miro. He's on the roster and hasn't been used. With her being held at Volusia County Corrections Center after being charged with DUI manslaughter and more, Tammy Sitch, known to WWE fans as Sunny, would make a request of a fellow co-worker, as Missy Hyatt posted a screenshot and wrote, "When you badmouth a former friend for 18 years, do you reach out to them in hopes of getting money on your books?" Sabu replied, "Wow, talk to her. She is still one of the boys, I guess." Giving details on the current negotiations between the Elite and AEW, it was said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter regarding contract negotiations with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, Barry Bloom is the point person negotiating those deals. There are a lot of rumors, largely because Conan said he thought Omega had agreed to a new deal because Omega was working Triple Mania, but there's nothing new to report, and Omega's deal with the time added on for his time off for the injury sabbatical would expire late in the year, while the Bucks deal would be at the end of the year. Adam Page's deal also expires at the end of the year. I wouldn't read anything into that one way or another past at this point. No deal has been agreed to. With this being his first pro wrestling booking since his departure from WWE, Goldberg will be with Kevin Nash, Booker T, DDP, and Paul White in Manchester for this weekend. As AEW Collision will be airing on Saturdays, it's expected that CM Punk will be making his debut on that show. Now, Dave Meltzer has noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that another big star will be there as well, saying along with what is expected to be either another major name debut or return. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.